host, Super Joe Pardo, and I have a great guest for you tonight, whenever you're listening to this show. Hopefully you're listening to it live. If you are listening to it live on Facebook Live, throw in the chat where you are listening from. I know we have people literally all around the world, and I would love to hear where you are listening from. I have I don't want to say some, but I do have a pretty big announcement tonight to make. And before I get to that announcement, I want to let everybody know that they absolutely should be coming to the Indie Pod Conference in September 24th to the 26th, 2020. It's going to be in Philadelphia, Philadelphia South Swedesboro at the Holiday Inn. It's gonna be an awesome time. We're inching closer to just 9 months away from this event, and I am super pumped and super honored to be having so many great people who want to come and be a part of the conference and the event. And the person sitting to my left, your right, is one of those people that hopefully will be in attendance, hopefully will be speaking, hopefully we'll be having a jammin' time in there. I'm sorry if I look a little distracted, because tonight we are doing something a little bit different, and I don't know if this is actually working. So if you are listening right now on the platform, which we are now streaming to, we have added a new streaming platform. I mean, we're talking about live streaming tonight. We're answering your live streaming questions here on the Indie Pod podcast. And I have added Podbean Live to the arsenal of streaming platforms. Yeah, wow, right? And that's because we have the honor of having our first ever in the 3 or 4 years, whatever I've been doing this show, the first ever sponsored episode. So first off, let's give it up for Podbean for stepping up and being that team of people that said yes, Joe, I would love to sponsor your live stream podcast thing that we do here every single Wednesday. Super honored. So we, let me see, I have like an ad read here. So this episode is brought to you, other than by just Indie PodCon, it is brought to you by Podbean. Podbean is an easy and powerful way to start podcasting. They give you all the tools you need for a successful podcast, such as unlimited podcast hosting, podcast distribution, monetization options for your podcast of any size, and live stream podcasting capabilities, which we're utilizing right now. I hope. I don't have a way to testing until I get to introduce my guest to my left, and he starts talking, so I can do some listening in this here to see if it's actually working. You can sign up today over at podbean.com. That's podbean.com. Go check it out. Thank you so much to Podbean for stepping up again and being the first ever sponsors of the Indie Pod podcast. All right, everybody. There's a bunch of other announcements I'll make later, but everybody, give it up for our guest who runs the livestreaminguniverse.com website, and was just over at the Neistat getting interviewed. I believe. I think that was the thing.
Yeah. Winnie's son has a new show, and I was a guest talking about live streaming.
That is awesome. Everybody, give it up for Ross Brand. Woo!
Hey, thank you, Joe. It's great to be here, man. And congratulations on a new sponsor. You're going places.
Thank you. I hope it's up. Right, we can only go up when we're all the way at the bottom here. Shout out to Doc Kennedy over in Nashville, who won't be in Nashville for much longer. He just announced that he's moving to Dallas, Texas, which good luck with them Dallas fans. I'm friends with a couple of them, but yeah, good luck there. Good luck there, brother. And Anita, how are you doing to this fine evening? So Ross, to fill everybody in on the things that I didn't get to mention in that intro for you.
Sure. So I have a background in live radio, worked in radio for 12 years, and then I went off to do some other things, and I discovered a platform called Blab and fell in love with broadcasting again. Started hosting some shows, and eventually just fell into this and really came to love live streaming and broadcasting. Started podcasting along the way, have a YouTube channel doing all the different audio and video content creation avenues, including smart speakers and flash briefings as well for Alexa. So just wanted to let you know, livestreamuniverse.com is where you can find me. And I'm on social media as well. And I went to MapCon for the first time, now Indie PodCon, or the Independent Podcast Conference. This past year was my first time. It was in Atlantic City. I had a great time, got an opportunity to speak. Joe does an awesome job putting a conference together. Real family and fun, and a lot to learn. I love that it's one track. Everybody's together. You get a lot of time to network and hang out with people and collaborate. And next year it's in Swedesboro, and that's where it had been the previous years. But I'm excited to actually see what the Swedesboro setup is. So I'm looking forward to coming back. If you'll have me back this year, I will be back.
Well, I would love to have you back, and thank you so much for the kind words. I was trying to figure out, that's why I dipped out, was to see if I could get if I could find out if this is definitely recording. It recorded last night when I did the test, but I actually don't know how to go about listening to it. So if you go to indiepodcon.com or indiepodcon.podbean.com, it takes you to our page. But I think I need to do a little more understanding in how it exactly works. But I'm pretty sure it's streaming. I'm like 90% sure it's streaming. So anyway, so yes, we have quite a few. Yeah, Doc Kennedy's the ones moving, Larry, and Larry Roberts is in Dallas. Oh, I didn't realize you were in Dallas, Larry. I hadn't. For some reason, I thought you were on the East Coast, like in like Virginia or North Carolina or something like that. It's 8 a.m. here. Oh, Sonia. Sorry, Sonia. 8 a.m. Thank you for listening at 8 a.m. in the morning. I hope that I'm getting you pumped for your day. So we had a couple of questions in the Facebook group. But if you have a question, please pop it in the chat on Facebook, or if you're listening on Podbean Live, put it in the chat. I think I will see it here. I have it like on my screen down here. If you have a question about live streaming, I think we got the guy or guys to answer that question. The first question that we have, though, comes from, I'm pulling it up as we speak. It comes from, Jeffrey Bradbury. Shout out to Jeffrey Bradbury of the Teacher Cast. I believe it's teachercast.net. How do you create a script for students when they are learning to broadcast? Do you want to take a crack at that?
Well, I'm not exactly sure whether they're going live, or in this case, you're going to be. It all depends what the situation is, what the time. I mean, there's so many different variables there, but I would start by allowing them to sort of give them parameters, right, of what the show's going to be about and what their speaking role is going to be, what their topic is, and then let them construct something in their own words. Let them work on their own script. So if they're 5, it sounds like it came from a 5-year-old. If they're a senior in high school, it sounds like it came from a senior in high school. Of course, you'll polish it up and tighten it up a little bit and add it a little bit, but I would give them an opportunity first to find their own voice, whether it's in writing or in how they deliver it. So I don't know if I exactly answered the script question, but that's what I can lend to this at the moment.
So I actually, to get the location for the first MapCon, I taught a bunch of middle schoolers how to craft their own podcast,
Oh
like Soup
wow.
to Nuts, and I actually recorded, I think, like 80%, like if we did like 8 classes, I think I got like 6 of them on video, where we, went through the
Wow.
process and figured things out. And it was hard because like I was trying to do it like democratically, where like we were, picking out the name and who was going to be like the primary host, and then we had other people doing segments, and they got to do research, and then we had like 2 people that wanted to like head up to putting the WordPress website together. And it's funny because the people in the podcasting space know this site called Squadcast now, right? Well, that was the name of the podcast back in 2015. We called it Squadcast, and I owned, and I don't know if I don't think I still own it anymore, squadcast.org. So we bought, I bought the domain, and I got them to set up their own website, and they started recording. I think they recorded like 2 or 3 episodes in the 8-week span or so that we did it. We were meeting for, I think, like an hour and a half a week, which was great. It was a really it was a big learning experience for me, because I had never taught a classroom before. So it was it's very near and dear to my heart. I'm still friends with a lot of the parents from that experience, and some of the kids on Facebook now are in high school getting ready
Wow.
to. It's crazy, right? Like it's like they were in 7th grade, like boom, now they're like getting their driver's license and moving on with their life, and going to college. And I'm just like, wow, like that felt like just yesterday, but it was like 4 years ago, going on 5 years ago. So it's crazy. So yeah, I would say, let them feel what they want to build topics around, and what they want to craft it about. I would say that, as younger kids, it's their first experience talking on a mic, first experience on that stuff. Having them being able to write notes, having them be able to write a script, it would be probably pretty helpful, and really inject a lot of the things that they're learning alongside of, putting together a podcast, putting together a live stream. And of course, as they get older, the more that they do it, the more they'll just be able to talk off the top of their head and bang, bang, boom,
Right.
answer questions. So I hope that answers your question, Jeffrey. If you have any more questions about that, please feel free to reach out to Ross or I, because I mean, we both have tons of experience in that field,
Yeah.
as I know Jeffrey does as well. So I appreciate the question. He's been doing TeacherCast for I don't recall the exact number of years, but it's been
Wow.
a pretty long time at this point. So Sonia says, is it okay to create podcast and call it radio? I saw some people call their podcast streaming as a radio program without being on radio. It's interesting. I could take this one to start if you
Go
want,
ahead.
Ross.
Go ahead.
So podcasting is becoming more synonymous with like recorded audio. And if you listen to the radio, I actually do listen to sports talk radio here in Philly a lot, because we have like 3 channels. Actually, I think it's 4 channels of
Wow.
sports talk radio here in Philly, because we're just that big of sports nuts about our teams that don't win a whole lot of things, but we're still proud of them. They bring up the word podcast probably like 2 to 3, sometimes 4 times an hour. It's kind of ridiculous. It seems like every producer, every host, they all like every guest, they all have their own podcast. They're plugging get our podcasts at blah blah blah.com, so you can like catch up and listen to the show after we've already been off the air. I don't have a problem with them calling it radio, because there's still a lot of people out there that have no clue that, what a podcast really is, or, they hear online radio show or internet radio. Okay. I get that. it's all semantics, really. I think that plus there's a lot of people who have had podcasts that are now on radio. Like they got got their chops there, and now they're on radio and they do both. And shout out to Clay Groves, who is on radio and does podcasting. And like this show could easily be on the radio, but we don't, you know, I don't call it radio, but I think it just depends on who your target market is, and I wouldn't get worried too worried about the semantics. It's like saying, well, I'm a YouTuber versus I'm a filmmaker. Well, both of them are probably going to end up on YouTube. So technically, you could be both.
Your podcast might end up on YouTube.
Well, exactly. And to speak to that, so my show, I just relaunched my show, Dreamers. Is Dreamers Podcast, but I'm just calling it Dreamers now. And it's video first with audio in mind. Right. Mm. So the idea is that everything that is in the video is also going to be on the podcast feed. So the idea is that you could listen to it, you can watch it, and I can go about taking the audio and making that long format. Like if I do a long format interview, it doesn't, like I could do like snippets of it in video, get that, 5-10 minute video together, and then put the podcast out where it's the whole 30, 60, 90 minute interview. Or conversation there for people to hear long form. So, it's just content. Like that's some right. People really hate that I'm a content creator, but I kind of consider myself just an artist of creating things, and all that. So don't get caught up in semantics. Ross, what's your take on this?
Well, I think when people say internet radio, your assumption for internet radio is they have a bunch of different shows. They broadcast more than, say, an hour a week. They may be on all day, 5 days a week or 7 days a week, or they have a series of different shows. Whether they're live or pre-recorded, they're being distributed that way rather than just being distributed as a podcast. You can go to a website and listen to a variety of different shows. But some people just call their podcast radio, whether they're playing off of just something to do with audio, and maybe they're relating what they're doing, like, the new sports radio or something like that. They're relating what their podcast is to sports talk, but it's being distributed as a podcast. But clearly we know radio is one thing and podcasting is another thing. And then there's satellite radio, which is something else. But, people, in terms of what they title their show, in the title that they have some license to call it whatever they want. But if they're saying they're on the radio, that's different than saying their podcast is, XYZ radio or something like that.
Yeah. I wouldn't try going and say my show's on the radio unless I knew for a fact that it was on the, airways somewhere for somebody to be able to connect, dial into it, and find it. I don't know how do you even go about promoting that? Because people aren't going to find, I guess it all falls in the same category. How's anyone going to find anything? You go into the internet and it's a big, thing. But if you're just surfing through the dial, maybe you'll get found. I don't know. Lou Hastings, what's up, Lou? Says, hi, Ross. I do a lot of traveling for work with my day job. I'm battling with myself if I should live stream wherever I am, but I think it might be interesting for an audience. Should I let it rip and just do it? Ross, you take this one first.
If you have internet connection and you have something to say or something to show, or you have an audience that wants to hear from you, why not? I mean, people love access, and they love to see people in their everyday environment. They love to see people when they travel, when they're not just broadcasting from the same studio or behind a microphone. So if you're out going to interesting places, you're traveling, or even not that interesting places, there's a story there. There's always a story there. There's always somebody who's interested in what you're doing as you go about your day. So if you have a good enough internet connection and you enjoy doing it, and then why not? If you don't enjoy doing it, or you're, I mean, I'm kind of an introvert, so I pick my spots where I go live when I'm out and about. I'm not somebody who who's, and I could do it. I mean, my spot could be 5 hours live, right? But I'm not somebody who's going to commit to like put a camera on me all day, every day, right? And there'll be times I'll be doing something and I won't want to interrupt it with going live. But there are times during the day you could hop on from your mobile phone and go live and show where you are and what you're doing or what you're working on when it's appropriate, when it's, you're not giving away company secrets or anything like that. Why not? Why not? If it's something you enjoy doing, and it's something that you find is beneficial for your business. Maybe you don't enjoy doing it, but you get tons of customers or clients from it, and you say, or you sell books from it, or whatever it is. Maybe it works for you. But in general, if you like doing it, I think your audience is going to enjoy it. I just think it's cool. From shooting video, Joe, that when you go to different settings, that's half the interest is like, where's Joe? Where's he shooting that? Where is he telling that story? Where is he going to talk to somebody? Or where is he going when he came with that discovery? Or where did he choose to tell us about that discovery or that change in his business or whatever it is? So that's kind of, I think, go for it.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the things that sometimes it's easy to I don't know, let your what's the word I'm looking for? The that little voice in your head that thinks like, I wonder what that person over there thinks about me talking to my phone like this, or like, who are you so important that you're talking, like, who are you, right? But the point of the fact is that you are somebody, you are reaching somebody, and if as long as like one person is watching or will watch later, even if it's your mom or your dad or your grandmother, it's still somebody, and that you shouldn't let that bother you. It is awkward. I mean, I shot plenty of videos in all different places, and it doesn't get less weird. I'll tell you when it gets the most weird. When I let myself stand in the way, and I start to like put more time between me doing it, more time between me picking up the camera, more time between me going out and getting those shots, and just getting in my own way. So like here's an example. So now, like with my show Dreamers, and shooting, like I shot at the park. Did you get to see that video, Ross? Yeah,
you did. Yeah.
So like there was people at the park, right? Like there was the morning walkers there, and like I was talking to a couple of them. It was kind of nice. But and none of them were like, "What are you doing?" or "Why are you doing that?" or they just, "Oh, you're out there doing like video or photography of nature or something." I don't know what I thought, but I just think it's really important to like not allow yourself to get in your own way. I mean, my next video I'm working on now is about the holidays. So like I want to do a lot of shots at different places, and in order to get those shots, like I'm going to have to go and like be in front of other people to like get those shots, and be comfortable with the fact that like, yeah, I don't have like an army of people with me that's like, because it's like, that's one thing, right? It's like when you're by yourself filming versus like when you have one other person filming you, it's a totally different dynamic in what other people are like looking at, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Like, oh man, there's a big deal versus like, oh, there's somebody that's probably like a YouTuber, totally full of themselves, and but that's not the case. You just as a creator, you don't always have somebody else with you to do that stuff. Sometimes you got to get the B-roll where it's like, I'm filming myself walking down that pier with my camera on a monopod, like, and just sitting there filming a pier with me walking down it in a high frame rate situation. But it just is what it is. It all works because once you put the magic, you sprinkle that editing magic in there, it makes it look like somebody else might have been there with me. I don't know. You don't know. So don't let yourself get in the way. Definitely live stream wherever you can feel comfortable doing it. As long internet connection is a pretty big thing that you need to have. Make sure it's secured. But just as long as you're talking to somebody, that's the important part.
And you don't even have to be on camera. So if you are not in the mood to be on camera, but you have something you want to show, a story you want to tell, there's lots of ways you can deliver that through live streaming without necessarily going on camera. If you like Lou's already somebody who's an experienced storyteller and creator and podcaster. So if he were new, if he had never gone live before, I might say start a few times on your personal Facebook profile, talk about something you're very passionate about, keep it to five minutes or so, do about 5 or 10 more, and then start talking about your business or where you're traveling to or some of those other things. But in your case, it's just a matter of turning on the camera, getting that first line or two out of the way, knowing how to wrap it up, and the rest will all fall into place. It'll be no different than really doing a podcast.
Oh, absolutely. And Sonia adds, it's great for taking revenge for the radio owners who rejected me. Or the ones that wanted you to pay to buy the airtime for you to have your own radio show. That isn't that great either. Unless you have the sponsors to back it up, right? And you can make more money from it than what they're charging. And she also says that they promote it on Facebook. Yep. I mean, that's I guess that's what you should be doing, right? Promoting in the places where people are listening. Tim, what's up, Tim? Tim says, instead of who am I to be doing XYZ, we should ask ourselves, why not me? I think a great example of that is so if anybody is familiar, and I mean a lot of us are tech heads, so MKBHD just celebrated 10 million subscribers on YouTube I believe it was today. And his like thank you video was like only like 2 minutes long or something like that, but it included a lot of his first videos from like 11 years ago or 12 years 10 years ago, 11 years ago, something like that. And I think that it's really cool to see like how low quality these early videos were for him. And as a kid, right? Because I mean, the dude's only like 24, 25 now. I'm not sure how old he is. He's probably like 25. And it's really cool to see like where he's come from, where he came, and now he's interviewing like Elon Musk and Bill Gates, and he just did a video with Kevin O'Leary. Like, how cool is that? Like, he's not even like he's not a programmer. He's not an engineer or anything, and just by talking about the thing that he loves so much for 10 years or 11 years, he got the first ride in the Cybertruck. He's getting all this preferential treatment based around his opinion on tech.
Wow.
Yeah.
I had to Google him.
Oh, are you serious? Oh, he's great. He's
only 10 million subscribers. He's got to step it up.
I know, right? And he lives in New Jersey.
Cow.
He's in Jersey. He's in your neck of the woods.
Really?
Yeah. So he's 26 years old. He plays on I don't know, one of the USA Ultimate Frisbee leagues or something like that too. But yeah,
well, he's real close to me. Wow.
Yeah.
Not in terms of subscribers, but in terms of
hey, he's worked
location.
Butt off to make that happen.
That's amazing.
Yeah, no, it's really, really cool, dude, and hopefully at some point I'll have a reason to get to meet him. But yeah, so I totally agree, Tim. Don't be asked. You should ask yourselves, why not me? Why should I not be doing the thing that I'm, like, who says you're not supposed to be doing it, right? Usually it's all up in here. It's all up in your head, and you get in your own way, and next thing you know, you're like, man, I 3 months went by, 6 months went by, and I didn't create a video. And I felt that way so many times this year. Not creating content and not getting to create content in the way that I wanted to create it.
Right.
So now I feel like I'm like plowing right through that, and yeah, I'm excited for my next video, which I gotta hopefully shoot over the next couple of days, and it just feels really liberating to be able to go back and just be myself rather than trying to like square in the round peg kind of thing.
Right. Right.
So Lou says, absolutely, I get in my own way for sure. I'm going to start streaming everywhere I travel to. I think that's awesome. I think people will love it more because you are the guy that's traveling. You are the activist that's supposed to be going to these places and doing these things. And I think it makes a lot of sense for you to just jump on and make it a movie right there on the spot.
Yeah, where is Lou today? Where is he going to be?
Yeah, where is Lou?
Live
Where are
streaming?
you, Lou?
Like I got to click that button and make sure I get my notifications so I see where he streams from next.
Yeah, because it's probably a lot different than what I'm looking at all day. And I would add that once you start doing that, Lou, you'll find excuses to go and find cooler places to stream from, right? Because you'll get more comfortable. You'll start getting more confident with doing it in weird situations, weird places, and you'll just be like, oh, I could live stream here, but if I go like a quarter mile down the road, there's this really cool like mountain range that you can't see right here because I'm like in the town. And he's in Brownsville, Texas right now. Well, I'm sure it looks a lot cooler than where I'm at right now. Right now in South Jersey. Let's see, Lou. People want to travel to go live streaming, like having a lifestyle in Bali. Yes. People want to see that, right? I mean, they want to see life that they can't live. Like, what was it? Casey Neistat just did that video on the most expensive plane ticket in the world. It was $43,000 for I think it was for a round trip. $43,000 round trip. That's for one person. Two people, I think it's 52. And not only do you get a seat on the plane, but you get 3 rooms. You get a private bathroom, a private bedroom, and your living room with like a giant TV. And yeah, people want to see that kind of stuff. Like I would have never knew that existed, but he got to go and do it. What stinks for him though is the taxes, because he got that for free, but he's going to owe taxes on that. And it was a plane trip from like Dubai or wherever he was, Abu Dhabi to LA or something like that. Like I think it was a direct flight, something like that. So yeah, he got this free, you know what I mean? Like he got this great thing, but now he's going to pay taxes on that great thing. That was a one-time trip thing, but I guess he got the video and that probably did well for him. Sonia says you have everything that you have everything to have live streaming. And Lou says, I was just tearing down a dirt road along the Mexico border earlier today to find the battlefield where the last shots of the Civil War were fired. And you weren't live streaming that. See, you're doing us all a disservice, Lou. Like that's offensive.
I mean, all you have to say is, hi, this is Lou. I'm along the Mexico border searching for the battlefield where the last shots of the Civil War were fired. Follow me as I go looking. And you almost don't have to say another thing. People are there. People are going to follow. People are going to watch. And of course, you can do everything from having casual conversations, chatting with people in the chat as you go, or depending, obviously, if you're driving or you're riding a motorized bike of some sort, then you probably don't want to be streaming at all while you're doing that. But if you're walking, if you're parked, if you're stopped, I mean, come on, this is great stuff.
It is. And the great thing about live streaming, is there's no post work to live streaming, right? Like you don't have to be like, oh, I set up these 3 cameras and we got this awesome drone shot, and I gotta clip it all together and like get this awesome music and like do a talking, voiceover over it and do all this post work. And it's like, no, I just like whipped out the phone, boom, 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 took questions, answered, showed people what was going on, and I went on my day.
My day.
Yeah, like it just, I don't know. To me, live streaming gives that ability for you to just be yourself, show something, and get on with your day. Like after this is over, like I'm going to turn this into a podcast episode, right? So I got to get the MP3 file and upload it and blah blah blah, do show notes and stuff. But if this was just the live stream, like as soon as I hit end broadcast, I'd be done. Like, all right, I'm gonna go to bed now. In fact, if I could find a service that automatically took the MP3 file and like injected my ID3 tags that I specified for it with and then pre-filled out my show notes and posted it to my WordPress site, I'd be one less job that I'd have to worry about and do, because it would just automate so much more of the process than already is. I mean, I remember this was even harder before when you had to record and strip the audio out of the YouTube like file when you were doing like Google Hangouts to do Google. Like, so Ross, how long have you been live streaming?
So I've been live streaming since late 2015, maybe October, November 2015. So a little over 4 years.
That's awesome. And have you been satisfied with the progress live streaming has made in those 4 or 5 years?
In terms of
ease of use, access, discoverability.
Well, let's start with ease of use.
Okay.
I mean, the platform that we're using now, everybody knows, if you don't, full disclosure, I host a show that's sponsored by StreamYard.
Yep.
But the platform we're using now finally makes it easy to go live, where you don't need to do a lot of preparation. You can do as much as you want to do. You can brand the broadcast and add different elements to it. But ultimately, with a few clicks, you can go live and you can bring on the guest with just a link. And it works. It's stable. Neither one of us have had to refresh our browser. I had to block my video for a second for a different reason, but that wasn't StreamYard's fault. So the fact that this is so stable and we could actually bring 3 or 4 more people into this broadcast and it would continue to be stable and look nice and sound good means that the average person now has the ability to go live and focus on their content. It used to be a big part of live streaming or any type of online broadcasting was knowing which wire to plug in where and which piece of gear. And in other words, there was a tech bar to get over to do it. Now the tech bar is like, you have a computer or a phone and you press a couple buttons and you go. And then, of course, everybody can upgrade. You can get a better microphone. You can get an external webcam and or even DSLR. You can mixers and audio interfaces and recorders. But at the end of the day, probably the biggest impact is the platform that you're using, because if that's stable, then the quality of the conversation for the people listening is going to be good. And that's whether you're live streaming or podcasting. So I think 2019 was a game changer. We saw first platforms that made it easy to get on but weren't stable. Then we saw platforms that let you add some professional elements and were more stable. But now we have one that has professional elements, is stable, completely stable, high quality audio and video, and it's got all these other features that just work. Like you can now multi-stream to 5 destinations if you have a pro plan on StreamYard without needing another service. Yep. Or you can take one of those 5 destinations, send it to a restreaming service, and go everywhere in the world. I mean, it's amazing what you can do. And I certainly think the content has gotten better over time. A lot of people start and they stopped, or they decided it wasn't for them, but people who've stuck with it have continued to grow and get better and get a better sense of what audiences want and what type of content. And I think ultimately the biggest thing the audience want is you, the broadcaster. If they like you, they want you to show up for them once a week or once a month or a few times a week as you travel, whatever your thing is. They want more of it. And if you can deliver that, you're well on your way. I mean, we see all different kinds of people with all different types of content live streaming. And I think the way it's going now, not only are talk shows like this doing very well for people who are using them on behalf of building their personal brand or their business, but we're also seeing a lot of people just take a mobile phone, like we were talking about before, and take you behind the scenes before they give a speech or before they play a game or before they, whatever it is that they're doing, they're bringing you somewhere that everybody else isn't going, and then talking to you about how the experience was afterwards. You know, there's the show, but now they're giving you a pre-show and a post-show. They're bringing you inside the locker room. They're taking you behind the curtain, you know, backstage before the or after the concert. And it works for companies too, letting you see the employees who are making the product or get to know the sales team that's on the floor when you come into the store. All these different things are ways people can use live streaming without needing to reinvent the wheel or do anything super complicated. And you can get out there and get your business and your brand out there in just ways that an audience resonates to. Think about what TV brings. Think about what radio brings. Live streaming brings something different, and that's the interaction that we're having with the people in the chat that TV and radio, for the most part, other than callers, really doesn't have with such a wide number of people at one time.
Yeah, to really be able to bring the chat, like the chat live into the conversation, like we're doing here with this show. Yeah, I mean, they do the callers, they'll do like their Twitter polls and stuff, but other than that, it you know, or maybe once in a while I'll be like, oh, so and so tweeted blah blah blah, you know, but not really like instantaneous injecting that.
And not to where the viewers are having a discussion amongst themselves that's also part of the show. You know, you could watch a recorded show and people are tweeting about it using a hashtag as it goes or a live sporting event. But this is, the chat is right here in the people are watching on the platforms where they're chatting, right?
Yep.
And so that chat is part of the show. We see it, and it's just a different experience. So if you're in business, you can talk to your customers. If you're in an organization that's more social, you can talk to your friend. Whatever it is that you're doing, you can talk to your community. You can talk to the people you want to join, you want to show for an event. Whatever it is that you're doing, you have the opportunity to talk to those people right there. They can ask you the questions. All this TV and radio haven't really integrated all that well yet. And I'm surprised. I don't know about you, but I'm a little surprised they haven't gotten further along in this direction, because people want that interactivity with brands and with entertainment.
You know, it's funny. I was watching the South Park.
You don't agree?
No, I do. I was just thinking of the South Park episode. They just, I don't know, it was like a week or so ago or 2 weeks ago, where it was like they called the cable guy, and you know he took forever to get to the house, and like then they were like, "Where have you been? Like you said you were going to be here between 12 and 5. Well, sir, it's only 5:15." But you know, he went bowling, he got a sandwich, he went like his grocery shopping, like all those things before he showed up. And he's like, "Oh, you're ruining, America now. We can't have these conversations around TV shows because everyone's watching their own super niche little TV show, that they're streaming off their streaming services." He's like, "Do you want that? Do you want to destroy America?" And he's like, "Well, it actually sounds kind of nice. Like I can watch what what actually interests me." And it's like, yes, that is where we are heading. That's why podcasting has grown, because people want to hear more opinions. They want to hear more topics than just the little sliver of space that's been given from major media, over the course of the last 100 years. So I think that I think that we will. I think you're right. I think we will see more of that going. But you're right. I think that it's funny that the most I've ever really seen on a show is like live tweeting during the show, or live tweeting during showing live tweets of during a sporting event or something to that effect. But even that, I feel like that's kind of curtailed. Like it was more prevalent maybe 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, and is slowly, to my opinion, it seems like that's actually going away. The whole live tweeting aspect of shows.
Well, you kind of had that thing where the newscasters would go like, "Hey, let's check a comment from Twitter." Like, there's this thing called Twitter. Let's go out there and grab one tweet and put it on the screen so we can seem cool.
Yeah, so I think more of that is I think it'll come back around. I think as people, and I was not yawning because of Ross. That is not actually what I was also thinking was Ross, you need to plug your, was it 220 predictions for
Not quite that many, but I'm getting close. 160. Yeah.
I got it right on the second try.
160 predictions for 2020. And you can find it. It's at livestreamuniverse.com on the homepage. Just click the big image and it'll take you there. Joe was one of our contributors again this year. And I talked about you on StreamYard Connect last week.
I know you
about how the
me.
ad revenue is for podcasting is going to go over $1 billion this year.
And now we're part of that revenue.
There you go.
How about that?
Monetizing.
Yeah. How about that? Thank you, Podbean, for being a part of this of the history here, the icon history. Yeah. So a couple things I want to plug here before we start to wind down here. If you would like to be a sponsor like Podbean, just hit me up, indiepodcon.com/partners. Check out the media kit and reach out and we can make something happen. If you want to be a part of our second weight loss game, it's 4 weeks. Oh, this says it's $10. It's actually been moved up to $15. So I'm going to update that while I'm talking about it right now. It's just $15 to get your butt in shape. You lose 4% of your weight in 4 weeks. It's $15. You actually win money. So the winner from our first game, I sadly lost. I got really sick. My son was in the hospital twice, and it was a heck of a November. Plus we had Thanksgiving, but I didn't really eat that much during Thanksgiving. It was, really being sick is what kicked my butt, aside from being in the hospital with my son and recovering from all that. But anyway, Clay won like over $50. It was a $10 buy-in and he won like over $50, just losing weight. So like, shout out to Clay, more power to you, brother. And if you want to be a part of our next one, it starts, I think it's January 6th. So you have like, after January, after New Year's Eve, all that, Christmas and Hanukkah and Kwanzaa and whatever else is in there I don't know about. You get through all that, and then you have until like that. I think it's that Sunday or that Monday when it starts. It goes for 1 month, and you can win a butt ton of money. Go to indiepodcon.com/loser. If you would like to be a guest on this show, go to indiepodcon.com/guest. And I think there's like 2 or 3 spots left in May to be a guest on this show, which we record every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, live here on Facebook and YouTube and Periscope and now Podbean Live. which I think might have actually ended because my solution that I came up with to make all that happen, something went wrong. So I will have to work on that. If you haven't checked out yet, we have merch. We have the Indie PodCon shop. You can go to indiepodcon.com/shop. We have shirts and hats and stickers, not just indie pod stuff, but like podcaster related stuff. Past shirts. We have a handful of those limited edition shirts left over from MapCon 5, as well as I think the Podfessional shirts from a few, MapCon 4, I think it was. And speaking of MapCon, if you haven't gotten your ticket yet for Icon, go to indiepodcon.com/register, throw in promo code IPP. You can also do that for the merch and get 10% off merch and 10% off of your ticket. Ticket prices will be going up, I believe, in probably about a month. I want to say like towards the end of January, they will be going up. So if you haven't bought your ticket, I wouldn't wait too much longer. Get 10% off now while you can. Get it the cheapest price you can. Yeah.
You got a lot going on.
I know, you're only supposed to like promote like one thing, but the problem is there's a lot. Like we only have one thing, which is the conference. But to go around the conference, there's lots of things to make that happen, to deliver. It's a boatload of stuff.
It's good stuff, man. Better than having nothing, right? I mean,
well, yeah, no, that's a great point.
So tell me about the weight loss thing. How does this work?
So how it works is so
how many weeks? Oh yeah.
It's predictions of 2020 is awesome. Thank you for that. Yes, thank you so
Sonia.
much for that, Ross, too, because I actually it was like a week or so or 2 weeks after the due date, and I started panicking thinking I didn't submit anything because I couldn't find an email about it because I forgot that I was supposed to like put it into the Google form, and I was like, oh no, did I do it? I feel bad. I was like, oh, I don't want Ross to think I didn't want to do it, because I know I was struggling with it a little bit to try to think about like what I wanted to bring to the table with it. But yeah.
You know what's funny? There's somebody who was in the predictions who thought, wow, this is a good idea. I'm gonna do mine, and she did one for online courses and invited me to contribute one. And that's where I realized going, it's just 2 to 3 sentences. Isn't so easy when you're on the other side of it.
It's not, because you want to sound like epic and you want to sound like the expert. And I know all this stuff and I can see into my crystal ball and all that jazz. And
like, I knew what I wanted to say, but it took me like 2 hours to actually formulate it into like 2 or 3 good sentences.
How do I make myself sound like Yoda? That's what you're trying to, do in 2 to 3 sentences.
Right.
It's not easy. And speaking of not easy, so weight loss is not easy. And
that's a pro transition, people.
Yeah, thank you. So
not easy. Losing weight isn't easy.
No, it's not. If it was easy, everybody would do it. And just like owning a business or like live streaming or like literally almost anything, it's losing weight is not easy. So I wanted to about like a little over a month ago, I wanted to start losing some weight, and I was changing up how I was eating, and decided to like, okay, I want to pull podcasters together and band together to like push each other to go and lose weight. So I dabbled with a couple different tools like websites and like how we could do like challenges and stuff, and landed on Diet Bet, which I had heard of before. And so what it is you sign up for Diet Bet, you place your bet. The goal, I think it's this one is $15. The last one was $10, a $10 buy-in. I think you have to buy a membership too, which is $5. So it'll be like a total of $20. And you'll have 4 weeks to lose 4% of your weight. So in my case, because I'm not afraid to talk about it, I needed to lose how many pounds is it? It was like something like, I want to say it was like 11 pounds. So I was at like 276, and I needed to get down to like 264 or something like that, or maybe 265. Something. It was somewhere in that range. Anyway, I was like, oh, this should be easy. And in fact, after like a week and a half, I'd already lost like 5 pounds. So I was like, this will be easy because I'm running and all that stuff. And then of course, like life happens, and like the
Right,
kid
right.
ends up in the hospital, and then you end up sick, and you're hacking up a lung for a couple of weeks, and you're in the meantime, you're not working off the holiday stuff that's coming down the pike that you're
Right, right.
staring at during Thanksgiving, and you come up short, but you still lose 5 pounds in the process. So yeah, so I paid $10, lost 5 pounds, or I guess $15, but lost 5 pounds, which is great, but it's just the start, right? And that's why get into next year, and hopefully I can get my butt back out running and working out. And what we've done is we have so we have like a Facebook messenger group, so
Mhm.
it's easier to like take pictures. Like I was sending pictures of me, and like when me and my daughter were going out running to the group, and early in the morning when I was like getting up and going running, like taking pictures and pushing people, hopefully pushing people towards the right direction, inspiring each other to like get off their butts and go do something to make a difference in ourselves.
Now, are you betting against other people in the group, or are you betting against like the website's larger
Oh, no.
pool or
So
whatever?
you're just betting against our pool. So you
Okay.
can join up, think of 3 to 5 games or something. So like if you were like, I am down, like there is games that you could like $100, $200, $500. Like you could really throw it down, but you could win some like serious cash because the pool is split up amongst the winners. And one of the things that made it easy for me to make the decision to go with them, not just because I had seen some friends use it before, but basically they said like, hey, if everybody meets the goal, everybody will walk away with money. Like we won't take
Oh,
a
that's
cut.
cool. That's
Like
cool.
we like in the name of like good business and good,
Mhm.
being a good person, we will just walk away from the money that we were supposed to collect. And everybody will get at least a percentage more than they would have prior. So yeah, so which is awesome. That means like, look, they actually want people to like lose weight, and if if I was younger and didn't have 2 kids, and life wasn't taking over, I would be like, I'm totally going to throw down $1,000 across a couple of games and just go ham and go running and do my thing. And they have a longer game too, or they have like a 6-month game where you could lose like 10% or more or something like that, which is cool. But like 6 months is a long time to keep people invested.
It's a long time to be starving. You get hungry after 6 months.
Yeah, you probably would
For
get
a few
hungry.
weeks, I can give up food, but not for 6 months.
Well,
No,
it's
I
not
know that
the,
isn't exactly how you lose
that's not
weight.
the
I'm joking.
that's not the point. The
It's
point is that
a
you
healthy
make the
lifestyle.
changes. Yes, 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 yes. You go and you do some working out, you eat a little bit less, you put the milkshakes down. I mean, that was my big weakness for a long time there. I was drinking tons of soda. I haven't drank soda over 2 years at this point. But then I switched from just drinking soda to like, oh, here's a milkshake. And then I'm drinking milkshakes, and that's just, it's been terrible. So, about a month and a half ago or 2 months ago, I put the milkshakes down and said, okay, I'm just gonna like wean off, and I'm burning like my watch.
Right.
I'm burning the calories. I just need to stop taking in so many calories, and it'll start to like slowly go down. And if I can just get my butt out and go running, like I'll just power right through. So like I said, I thought it was a slam dunk for me, but it just didn't happen. But that doesn't mean we don't keep trying, right?
There you go.
Go harder. So I would love to have you join us, Ross, if you'd be interested. Like I said, it's not a big buy-in, it's a short amount of time, and it's in that goal setting new year mode.
Is it
I'm
game
looking forward to it.
4 or 4 weeks?
It's 4 weeks.
4
Oh,
weeks.
lost. So it's a join our weight loss game.
4 weeks. Okay.
Yeah, 4 weeks.
4 weeks I
Yeah.
could do. I could
Yeah,
starve myself for 4 weeks.
Well, I hope that you're not gonna. There you go. I put
When
the
does
colon there.
it start?
Oh, so this one starts January 6th, I believe,
All
is when
right,
it
so I
starts.
gorge between now and January 6th, so
Yeah,
that
you'll do your initial one. Oh,
I
that
can hibernate for 4 weeks.
so here's the other thing is the uh your weight is private. You'll have to submit a picture of your scale and a body picture of you on said scale. They make you like write a word and put it in front of the scale. So you do that, you submit it to them. They're just verifying that that's the weight, but you don't have to share your weight to the group. So no one else needs to know your weight. I know that was a kind of a concern for a few people that were like, I want to be in it, but I don't want, no one needs to know my weight. And like, I promise you, the people at Diabet do not give two shits about your weight. You know, the number, they don't know you. They could care less. The only thing they care about is hopefully that you win. You know, you lose some weight and you become good PR for them. uh, you know, like the people on their website, like I won $15,000 and I lost like 100 pounds.
Right.
That's
Good.
pretty baller. Like that's awesome. Like,
You're in
yeah,
our next commercial.
yeah, exactly. You're our poster child. So yeah, so it's, you don't have to give your weight, and you can sign up between now and I think a little bit after January 6th, but I'd like to get as many people in prior, you know, as earlier the better. And the more people that join, the more potential for money there is for you to win.
Right.
If you do your job. if you commit and make it happen. So yeah, so hopefully we had 7 people in the last one. So I'm hoping that we get at least 7 to 10 people this time around. And you know, the added extra $5 sweetens the pot a little bit, you know, for everybody, incentivize. Though it does say on the website, like if they have like a 33% higher success rate if you charge I think it's $35 is like that jumping point of like people saying, okay, because it makes sense, right? Because if you have like 10 people at $35, not only did you have to put $35 in for a month, so it's a little more like I'm going to pay attention to it, but like the pot is like $350 now. Like now, if you're the only winner, like you're getting
playing
like
for something.
Yeah, you're playing for a good chunk of change there.
It's
so
easy to go out $10, whatever. I'm going for that Sunday, that triple 4-6 scoop Sunday or whatever. Where, you know, if you pay $35, it's like, well, if I eat this, I just wasted that $35 and I lost a chance to win $350. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
$350. You can get some nice audio gear for $350.
Yeah, you can go get that RE 320 that Tim's been eyeing up for a long time here. So yeah, so that's you know, we want to be supportive and we want to, you know, inspire healthy change. As you know, part of my branding, Dreamers and all that. So yeah, so before we wrap up here, did you have any last thoughts you'd like to give on the state of streaming?
Take a look at the predictions, because there is so much in there that if you want to get up to speed on streaming or have an idea where things are going, and it includes people podcasting, like they're podcasting and YouTube, everything, smart speakers, Instagram stories, the whole gamut of digital media. It's great for people to get caught up in that. But as far as 2020 goes, just keep at it. Don't rely on one platform. That would be my thing for 2020. Go to multiple platforms, go to multiple accounts on a platform. Don't let that algorithm rule you. Be everywhere you can be, everywhere you can engage with people, go, because people want to get that content where they're at. If they're not necessarily jumping platforms to find you, come up in their news feed, whatever platform they're at, be on their favorite platform. They don't have to open an account somewhere else.
I would totally agree. I think that's one of the things that's been annoying for me with you, like having my videos on YouTube, because I've dabbled with like not just putting stuff on YouTube, but also putting it to like Facebook and putting it to LinkedIn and all these other places. But at the end of the day, what live streaming enables you to do is to be able to stream all those different platforms and have all that. But at the same time, like, if you don't have big numbers in one place, if your goal is to get sponsorship, it can be very tough to be like, hey, look, we have all these different platforms we're hitting, and between all of them we're getting blah blah blah. But sometimes it's a lot more effective to just be like, hey, we have YouTube, and YouTube we have 10,000 subscribers, and we're getting a lot of people just out of that place. But it just depends on the content you're creating too, and like, are those people on that platform that care about that content? Because they very well might not be. I think a great example of that is when you look at, like, was it Fast Company or Inc? Like, they have these videos where, like, oh, here's Marcus Lemonis giving a talk about blah blah blah, and it's like a 3-year-old video that has like less than 20,000 views.
Right.
Because that audience is just not, they're just not on YouTube. So
Right.
they're most of them are probably finding it through, like, because they searched for something and they found it that way. Or there's a handful of us, and by handful of us, it might be 5,000, 10,000 people that are on YouTube, and we care about that kind of content in the business sector.
And definitely with YouTube, it's a tougher call because you don't want to take any juice away from the YouTube algorithm. You don't want to take any views, any shares, anything away from YouTube that's going to grow your content, because you want to get in that recommended content, which is then going to get in front of so many people, and it
Oh yeah.
opens up opportunity and everything. But if you're live streaming for business or whatever, hey, a customer from LinkedIn or from Facebook is as good as a customer from YouTube or Twitter or whatever. So it all depends on what your goals are. If your goal is to be a YouTuber, then maybe you want to do your main content on YouTube and then use the other ones to drive people to your channel.
To YouTube.
But
Yeah.
it's also insurance against if YouTube decides to demonetize you, if YouTube changes up their policies, if who knows, right? So you still have other places where people can go to find you.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. Having like, oh, I got 100,000 people on Instagram. Well, that's great, but what, like, if Instagram closes tomorrow, are those people going to find you? Like, well, then we talk about email list, and then we talk
Right.
about also making sure that they're subscribed to your YouTube and that they're on their Facebook and they're also here and there. And they know about your website, right? And you got to
Right.
own it. I mean, I love one of my favorite YouTubers that does this is Linus Tech Tips, right? And he has his LTT message board. Like, his website is literally a message board.
Wow.
He doesn't have like a website at all, but they have so many people going through that message board. It's ridiculous because they send all the traffic from YouTube to the message board, so
Right.
that if YouTube shut down tomorrow, well, they're already working on their own streaming platform called Floatplane. So, like, if YouTube went away tomorrow, he wouldn't take a hit. And I don't know, they got like 25 employees, 30 employees working for him.
Wow.
And they got like 3 or 4 channels. They put out, like, I think it's like 10 or 15 videos a week. I think it's between 10 and 10 and 15 videos a week across all different channels.
Wow.
So
That's
yeah,
a lot of work.
yeah, it is. And that's why I have so many people working for him, like creating content and all that. So and editing. I mean, it's like 7 editors or something like that, like just people editing video like all day long. So and because they're putting out, they put out a ridiculous amount, but the key thing there is like, YouTube's revenue is such a small portion of the money that they make. It's not,
Right.
it doesn't even really, like, money could go away and it wouldn't drown them, because they got the sponsorship deals. They're sending people to their own message boards where they control everything.
Mhm.
They have Floatplane, they have Patreon, they have all these different, and now they have merch. There's some of their merch is like kind of really expensive, but with that said, like, I'm willing to buy, so I'm ready to buy,
Right.
a $30 water bottle. Like, I mean, it's like vacuum sealed, it's super high quality and everything, but like, it's still $30. Or I could buy underwear for $50 for like 3 pair. Again, they like went and sourced their own stuff, like, to make it. Like, they didn't just like, oh, let me just go to like Cafe Press or Printful or
But they're
anything like
making
that.
their website like a one-stop hub for everything to do with them. You
Yep.
have your chat there, you buy your merch there. You
Yep.
don't need to go anywhere else.
You got the community is
Right,
there.
right.
They're coming to you, and YouTube is just a delivery system while they basically build their float plane, which is the idea of the float plane is like it might not fly, but it can still float, so
Right.
it won't crash. And it's basically Patreon, but for video creators, which is really cool. Like
Yeah.
I think, and I know Todd Cochran's a big supporter, own your brand
Mhm.
through and through. So it doesn't matter, like, Facebook could go away tomorrow and it's not going to sync what I do because I'm sending people to my site. I'm owning the mailing list. I'm owning the website. I'm owning my feed. I'm not all that stuff, but it just depends on what you're trying to accomplish, so you
Yeah.
gotta really think about like what's the ultimate goal, where am I headed, and how am I going to get there, and what's my technical ability to get me there. So with that said, this episode is brought to you by Podbean. Podbean's live stream is a unique platform for turning your podcast production into a live show and is open to any podcaster on any hosting site. Easily invite multiple co-hosts and guests to join the live stream. Earn money from the live show, selling tickets to be in on the live show, and get listener rewards and engage with your audience in new and exciting ways. If you're ready to get started, sign up today at podbean.com/live. That's Podbean, podbean.com/live.
I'm gonna check that out. That sounds really
You
cool.
should. Yeah, it
Yeah.
actually is, like, so you can set how many free tickets that you want to give away, like how many seats can come in for free, and then that you can set a price like after that, like first 100 people are free.
Right.
After that, it's this amount of money. And I got to figure out a better way to get this live stream over to there than the way I just did, because it ended up, I think I only got like the first like 20 or 30 minutes, and I'm not sure what happened there, but I'll figure it out. We will get it back up and running going forward, because as a sponsor, we want to make sure that we're providing an opportunity to bring this awesome show to every place that we possibly can that will have us.
Well, thanks so much for having me, Joe. I'm honored to be your first sponsored show
Woo!
guest, and looking forward, man, to another year of Indie PodCon, or
Yes.
MapCon becoming Indie PodCon, right?
I'm excited for the changes. There's a few other things I need to announce before. So we're off the next 2 weeks, because next week, like, we're literally a week from the Christmas. And we're gonna be off, and then a week from then is New Year's Day. So I'm not doing this on New Year's Day. Prior to having kids, maybe I would have, but now not so much. So the next time we're coming back is January 8th with Matthew Passy, the podcast consultant. Really excited to have him on and talk podcasting, and like, he was at our meetup, our Philly meetup, and he did the "What's Hurting Your Podcast" talk, and there was so many great questions. If you haven't seen that, you can check out the where's it at, the ultimate podcast the ultimate how to start your podcast guide. I'm like 90% sure it's in there. It's as a YouTube video, or you can just go to the blog at indiepodcon.com. So if you go to indiepodcon.com/SAP, Sam Apple Pie, I guess, in the holiday spirit, and you can get you can check out the guide, and he just did a whole long nice talk there about it. Harry, thank you very much. I appreciate the love. Harry I'm a YouTuber, found it hard to get following. Plus, I'm a single parent. It makes hard to make videos. I hear you. I'm not a single parent, and it's still very hard with 2 kids to make videos. And I guess I can change what I do. Not a lot of people are into history. Well, there's definitely people that are into history. If you're talking about history as far as like business, you should check out the Company Man. That guy is awesome. I would absolutely love to have him on my show, not this show or Dreamers. His content is great, and it's all about like mostly company histories and how they got there or the rise and fall. So I mean that's kind of history, so there's people interested in everything. You just got to be willing to create the content and keep doing it, 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 and promoting it along the way. The one last thing I wanted to announce that what did I forget? I know I forgot some, forgetting something. So we're off, and Matthew Passy, and there was something else I was thinking, but now speaker submissions. Speaker submissions, and I should have probably announced this last week as well, but speaker submissions open up January 2nd.
Wow.
At noon. It's already going to be here. In fact, I need to take some time and get the page set up properly. But if you want to speak at Icon, I almost said MapCon, at Icon, you can go to indiepodcon.com/apply, I think work. Yep, /apply. indiepodcon.com/apply. And excuse me, that's where you will be able to sign up to potentially be a speaker at Icon. We're expecting a large amount of submissions this year, and we already have a schedule set, so that will be talked about, like the types of categories that we have and the slots that we have available. So it's very regimented this year versus in the past years where I was kind of like, all right, everybody, like, throw me your talks, and as long as they were coherent and made sense, I was accepting everybody. And we have a team now that is going to be combing through those submissions as well. So it's not just up to me to say yes, everybody. Because if it was up to me, everybody would have it. The problem is time. We always run over time, and some of my teammates beat me up about the fact that we run way over time year after year after year. Hey, Regor. Yeah, it is us. You guys, wait, aren't you guys in the same New York
City video mastermind?
Yeah, I need
Yeah,
to
you
get
gotta
up.
come up
I
to
gotta
New
get up to
York.
that. I do. Yeah, I do. I need to get up there. That we gotta make that happen. We'll talk more about that.
Definitely.
Harry says the start of America. That's interesting. Oh, so if you want to know about the start of America, like, I mean, Ben Franklin's World, Liz Covert, she does a very, very successful podcast all about the start of America, Ben Franklin's World. And I don't know if that's on YouTube or not, but like, there are people that are interested in that. So I would absolutely be looking to tap into that network of people. Harry says, thanks, Joe, for encouragement. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year to you, Ross, as well. Thank you.
Harry.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you as well, Harry. And I hope everybody has a safe couple, whatever holiday you're celebrating coming up here. I hope it's safe. I hope it's warm and welcoming. And I hope that you can, for everybody's sake, stay away from talking about politics.
Yes.
So that everyone can just have a great time and enjoy each other's company and forget about the world around us for just a couple of days, because it's not worth it, people. It's not worth it. We could all die tomorrow. It's not worth it.
Exactly.
Not to end on a low note, but all right. Well, Ross, thank you so much for taking the time to come and be a guest here on the Indie Pod podcast.
Thanks for having me, Joe. It's been fun.
It has been fun. I'm looking forward to having you on again and getting back in the saddle back in January 8th, 8 p.m. Eastern. That's when we'll be doing the next one, Matthew Passy. Everybody, take care. I'll see you in a couple of weeks.